Hello. Oh, it's been a week, hasn't it? It's been a couple of weeks, but we're getting through. We're making it. So let's just continue. Chapter 47, Pride and Prejudice. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I really, really hope you do. I know you're not going to be as crazy about it as I am, and that's totally fine. But I really hope you're enjoying it. So let's get to chapter 47. What was Uncle Gardner more inclined to believe at the beginning of chapter 3? Chapter 47. He actually started to believe, just like Jane did, because he said, and I quote, it appears to me very unlikely that any young man should form such a design against a girl who is by no means unprotected or friendless and who is actually staying in the colonel's family. So he thinks that maybe Elizabeth is overreacting. Maybe Jane is overreacting by this because there's absolutely no way that Wickham or anybody would run off with Lydia because Lydia is not alone. She had some form of protection, especially staying in the colonel's family. But, and the reason he said this is because it was very uncommon if a young lady had something like this happen that the gentleman that ran off with her would not have his life threatened. He would be called out for a duel. Ooh. So Mr. Gardner's like, I just don't know if I believe that. I don't know if this is actually possible. And in his mind, he's thinking, why would anybody risk that for Lydia? I feel the same way. Number 2, what are Elizabeth's claims of Lydia's deficiencies, which would cause Wickham to not look at her? And what claims has Lydia? What attractions has she beyond youth, health, and good humor that could make him, for her sake, forego every chance of benefiting himself by marrying well? So she's saying, Lydia's a fool. I don't understand why Wickham ran off with her. I don't understand why he would have done this because she has nothing to offer him, which, I mean, remember, he almost ran off with Georgiana Darcy and she has lots of money to offer him. Lydia has squat. So Elizabeth is flummoxed, but she knows that he is the kind of guy that would do this. And therefore, she believes that he actually did. Number 3, what was her opinion of Georgiana based on Wickham's description? Based on Wickham's description, she thought for sure that she was going to see a proud, disagreeable girl. But it was the contrary. So she was trying to express the fact that we shouldn't believe Wickham. No matter what he says, no matter what he portrays himself as, he is a liar, even in the smallest instance. Georgiana, he didn't even have to mention Georgiana. But he did, and that shows that his character was even worse than we anticipated because he had no reason to lie about her, but he still did. Let's continue on. Number 4, why did Lydia know nothing of Wickham's character? She knew nothing of Wickham's character because Jane and Elizabeth hadn't told her. They were trying to shelter their sisters, and they were trying to make their sisters not seem to be too worldly. And unfortunately, they should have. They should have told them the truth right away. Number 5, who greeted Elizabeth and her aunt and uncle first upon their arrival at Longbourn? It wasn't Jane. It was her cousins, Mr. and Mrs. Gardner's children that came running out to see them. Number 6, what did Jane expect the outcome of Lydia and Wickham to be? Well, Jane expected them to be married because it wouldn't make any sense that any man would just use a woman and kick her to the curb, so to speak. Number 7, who did Mrs. Bennet blame for Lydia's elopement from Brighton? And why is this ironic? She blames everybody but the person whose ill-judging indulgences the error of her daughter must be principally owning. She blamed everyone but herself and Lydia. Everyone else was at fault. And we know people like that. We know people that it's never their fault. They've never done anything wrong. It's everybody else. Everybody else is out to get them, right? How annoying. Number 8, how does she say the elopement would not have happened if she had been allowed to go to Brighton with her whole family? Then Lydia would never have run off because they would have made sure that she was watched appropriately. I'm rolling my eyes. I don't know if you saw that. Number 9, what 3 things does Mrs. Bennet instruct her brother, Mr. Gardner, to do when he gets to London? If they are not married, number 1, if they are not married, make them marry. Number 2, for the wedding clothes, do not let them wait for that, but tell Lydia she shall have as much money as she chooses. And number 3, keep Mr. Bennet from fighting Wickham. She thinks that Mr. Bennet is just going to be this bravado. You took my daughter. I'm going to kick your butt. She obviously doesn't know her husband very well. It's like at number 10. What words of wisdom does Mary impart on Elizabeth to which she is too shocked and depressed to respond to? And what does this show about Mary? Oh, Mary. Unhappy as the event must be for Lydia, we may draw from it this useful lesson that a loss of virtue in a female is irretrievable, that one false step involves her in endless ruin, that her reputation is no less brittle than it is beautiful, and that she cannot be too much guarded in her behavior towards the undeserving of the other sex. And Elizabeth was like, girl, I'm done with you. Oh yeah, okay, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary, so much. She was just stunned. She's like, really? Really just add fuel to the fire on this, Mary? Because all of a sudden you're speaking now and you're speaking these wisdom-filled things. And we're just tired of them, Mary. Number 11, what was the tone of Lydia's letter to Harriet Foster? The tone in Lydia's letter was one of flippancy, of immaturity, and lack of consideration for others. It was a very flighty, ditzy tone. I will read you the letter. Dear Harriet, you will laugh when you know what I have done. And I cannot help laughing myself at your surprise tomorrow morning, as soon as I am missed. I am going to Gretna Green, and if you could not guess with who, I shall think you a simpleton. For there is but one man in the world I love, and he is an angel. I should never be happy without him, so think it no harm to be off. You need not send them word at Longbourn of me going, if you do not like it, for it will make the surprise the greater when I write to them and sign my name Lydia Wickham. What a great joke it will be. I can hardly write for laughing. So this is a joke to her. She doesn't see this as the serious business that it is. To her, it's just, oh, how fun. We're just going to run off and elope and get married. Oh, he. What a fool. What an absolute fool. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of chapter 47, and I will stop it here, and I will then do chapter 48.